Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take professional histories and turn them into, well, actionable wisdom. We don't just skim the surface.
No, we go deep. And today, we've got something really special. We have the complete 28-year professional journey of Dr. Gangadhar Hugar.
It's an incredible career arc, really. We're talking from 1994 all the way to 2025, from his very first role right up to being a high-level university dean.
But, and this is the crucial part, we're not just here to list his accomplishments. The real gold is in his own self-assessment. He was incredibly candid about the big mistakes he made along the way.
Yeah, that's what makes this so valuable. It's like a letter to his younger self or to anyone coming up in their career. He lays out these 4 huge professional missteps that, really cost him time and energy.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack those 4 mistakes. We're going to use his timeline, which is incredibly detailed, as a roadmap to see how these errors played out in real time.
We're talking delayed planning, not delegating, starting late on research, and maybe the most dangerous one, getting too comfortable after success.
Exactly. The goal here is to give you a shortcut, to give you 28 years of wisdom without the 28 years of, well, making the same mistakes.
Okay, let's jump in. The first major strategic error he flags is a big one. He calls it the trap of sincerity over strategy.
Right. And this is a trap so many of us fall into.
Right.
His core belief for years was that if he just did a good job, if he taught well and was sincere,
Everything else would just magically fall into place. Promotions, recognition, all of it.
all of it. But he learned the hard way, and he says it so clearly in his notes. Career growth requires strategy. It's not automatic. And it was a strategy he delayed working on.
I can totally see why he fell into that trap, though. When you look at his early foundation, from 94 to around 2008, the man was just a machine.
An absolute machine. He was all about execution. He gets his Bachelor of Commerce in 1994, and then just listen to this 7-year window.
That's probably wow.
He gets an MBA in finance in 98, then an MBA in marketing in 2001, and get this, with a first division, then a post-grad diploma, an MCOM, and finally an MPhil in 2005.
Wow. So he's just stacking qualifications. He's building this massive academic knowledge base, all effort, all focused on being the best possible educator he can be in that moment.
Exactly. And you see it in his first big job as a faculty member at Videodaya Institute of Management Studies. Look at his duties.
It's all hands-on stuff. He's in charge of industrial visits. He's managing sports, organizing educational tours.
Guiding student projects. He was even the editor for the college magazine. These are the jobs you give to the person who gets things done, the sincere, hardworking person.
When it continues, when he becomes a principal at VSMS College in 2006, he's still deep in the operational weeds workshops, seminars, campus placements. He's the ultimate doer.
And that's the trap. He was a master of operational excellence, being amazing at the job he had. But he wasn't practicing strategic excellence, which is positioning yourself for the job you want 5-10 years down the line.
Okay, but let me push back a little here. I mean, it seems like it was working for him, right? He became a principal within about 12 years of his first degree. Isn't that a pretty successful tactic?
It's a great question. And yes, as a tactic for short-term intermediate promotions, it was very successful. But it fails as a strategy for reaching the top tier.
The really senior roles, you mean, like dean or director at a major university.
Precisely. Because at that level, the currency changes. It's a completely different game.
What do you mean by currency?
Well, up to a certain level, especially in smaller colleges, it's all about how well you manage students, how efficient your operations are. But when you aim for senior leadership at a big university, the currency is research, it's publications, it's grants. That's the language of global academic prestige.
And if you look at his CV from that early period up to 2008, that's the piece that's missing.
It's glaringly absent, he says it himself. I delayed thinking about research, leadership pathways, and long-term positioning. The first paper he lists is from 2007. That's 13 years into his career. The real research engine doesn't fire up for another decade.
So the mistake wasn't a lack of effort. It was misdirected effort. He was building the wrong kind of capital for his long-term goals.
And the cost of that delay was huge. He lamented having to, quote, catch up while managing heavy responsibilities later on. I mean, can you imagine trying to write a PhD thesis while also running an entire university department?
That sounds just brutal.
Yeah.
The difficulty level goes way up.
Way up. And that's the key takeaway for anyone listening. It's not about working less hard. It's about working more deliberately.
What's the difference?
Working hard is organizing 3 amazing industrial tours. Working deliberately is organizing 1 tour, but making sure you collect data from it that can become a publishable paper. It's about making your work do double duty.
So if you're early in your career, you need to ask yourself, is all this energy I'm spending just making me great at my current job, or is it building the portfolio I need for where I want to be in 10 years?
If you're only optimizing for today, you're setting yourself up for a crisis tomorrow. And that delay, that lack of early strategy, flows directly into his next big mistake.
Right, which happened when his career started to take off and the workload became immense. This brings us to mistake 2, the burden of command. Doing everything yourself.
Ah, yes, the high achiever's curse. He basically admitted that he thought taking responsibility for absolutely everything was a strength. But over time, it became his biggest liability.
His diagnosis was, I trusted myself more than systems or people. He was afraid that if he delegated, the quality would drop.
And, you know, it's such a relatable fear. Sometimes that's even true, especially if your team is new. But let's look at the career phase where this became a catastrophic problem for him.
This is around 2008 when he joins IBS Business School in Mumbai.
Yeah, he's there for 6 years, and his role expands. He's not just teaching anymore, he's guiding internships, preparing question papers, he's on the syllabus review committee. It's a mix of teaching and, core academic governance.
But the real pressure cooker, the real test of his ability to let go, came after 2014. He moves to Swayam City College as head controller of examinations.
We need to pause on that title for a second. Controller of examinations, especially in the Indian system, is not a simple administrative job. It is a massive, high-stakes responsibility.
Why are the stakes so high?
Because you are the guardian of the institution's integrity. You're coordinating, setting the exam papers, making sure they're secure. You're managing the evaluation of thousands of answer sheets. And, critically, you are overseeing the uploading of marks to the university's main website.
I see. So if you make a mistake there, it's not just one student getting a bad grade.
Oh, no. It's a regulatory nightmare. You could face sanctions, loss of accreditation. The pressure to get it 100% right, to personally check every detail, must be just immense.
So you can see why he wouldn't want to delegate that. He's thinking, I have to do this myself to protect the college.
Exactly. But that thinking, while coming from a good place, trapped him. He was managing tasks, not leading people. He was so busy ensuring accuracy that he wasn't building systems or people who could handle that risk without him.
And then, in 2019, the pressure just explodes. He moves to Uka Tarsadia University as Dean of Commerce and Management and Director of the MBA department.
And this is where the house of cards, built on personal effort, starts to wobble. His CV from this period is just an endless list of committees he's chairing.
I saw that. Chairman of the PhD Selection Committee, Chairman of the Examination Committee, Chairman of the Board of Studies, Member of the Academic Council.
It goes on and on. It's something like 20 different high-level committees. He became the single point of failure for the entire faculty. He traded every ounce of his strategic time for operational control.
And what was the result of that trade?
He says it himself. Burnout, quiet burnout. He was successful, he was respected, but he was completely running on fumes. And the biggest casualty of that burnout, which connects right back to the first mistake, was that research suffered. Reflection stopped.
There was just no mental space left for big picture thinking.
None. And this is such a profound lesson in leadership. You start your career being valued for what you can do yourself. But to be a true leader, you have to shift your mindset.
You have to move from being the best doer to the best enabler.
That's it exactly. If you are the bottleneck, you are capping the growth of your entire organization at the limit of your own personal exhaustion. And exhaustion is a very hard limit.
So the lesson isn't just hand off tasks. It's about being okay with a delegate getting something 80% right, because that frees you up to do the 100% strategic work that only you can do.
He learned that the hard way. Refusing to accept 80% on the small stuff meant he had 0% capacity for the big stuff, like research.
And that lost capacity is the perfect segue to the third mistake, which was a direct result of the first two. Mistake 3, the research catch-up. Late, but not lost.
Yeah, this one is all about the consequences of that delayed learning. He admitted he treated research as secondary for way too long, and it created this huge gap he had to scramble to fill.
Let's just look at the timeline again. He's awarded his PhD in May 2018. That's 20 years after his first MBA. 20 years into his career.
It's just, think about that. He's already a senior administrator, a director, and he's also having to complete this foundational academic requirement.
It's like trying to lay the foundation of a building while you're also managing the penthouse apartment. He was operating in two different career stages simultaneously.
Totally. And his PhD topic was very practical, a deep dive into customer behavior for fast-moving consumer goods in Mumbai.
Right. And as soon as he got that PhD in hand, it's like a switch flipped.
Yeah.
He went on this incredible, focused burst of research activity to make up for lost time.
It's a masterclass in how to play catch-up. He took the data from his one massive project, his thesis, and just started systematically publishing from it.
You can see it so clearly in the list of his papers from 2017 to 2020. There's one on tea powder, one on shampoo, one on toothpaste, health drinks, bath soap.
He's slicing and dicing that single data set into as many publications as possible. It's tactically brilliant, born out of strategic necessity.
But then something really interesting happens. After that initial burst, he pivots. He moves into these very contemporary, very forward-looking research areas.
Yes, that pivot is so important. Around 2021, he's suddenly writing about the digital pharmacy revolution, healthcare e-commerce, innovative HR in the pharma industry, talent management in the financial sector.
This is a huge shift. It shows he understood something critical. It's not just about the volume of research, it's about the relevance.
100%. The FMCG papers got him in the game, they checked the box. But this new specialized research was his investment in his future credibility as a leader.
And what drove this whole intense, stressful catch-up, he's very open about it. He talks about the fear.
The fear of rejection, of not being good enough, he said that was the hardest part. The academic publishing world can be brutal. It's built on peer review and often rejection.
And that fear is what kept him in his operational comfort zone for almost 2 decades. It's always easier to organize a successful tour where you control the outcome than to submit a paper that might get torn apart by reviewers.
But his breakthrough came when he realized he simply had no choice. The fear was still there, but the necessity was greater. He had to accept that rejection was just part of the process.
And the proof that this strategy worked, that his consistency beat his fear, is what happened next. He starts getting recognized as a research mentor himself.
That's the ultimate validation in academia. Just a year after his own PhD in 2019, he's named an approved PhD supervisor at Hugar University.
And that continues right up to this year, 2025. He's approved as a supervisor at Gujarat Technological University, a huge state university, and he's allotted 8 PhD seats.
8 seats. That's a massive vote of confidence from the institution. It shows he's gone from someone avoiding research to someone trusted to guide the next generation of researchers. It's an amazing turnaround.
The lesson for the listener here seems to be his own advice. Start before you feel ready. You don't wait for the fear to go away.
You don't. You begin small. Learn the process. The only way to get over the fear of rejection is to get rejected a few times and realize it's just data. It's not a verdict on your worth.
It's a powerful story of correction. And it leads us into the final phase of his career and the final mistake. This is the one that creeps in when you think you finally made it. Mistake 4, the comfort zone, when success slows growth.
This one is so insidious because it's a problem that only successful people have. After you've climbed the mountain, you got the PhD, you're publishing, you're a dean, it is so easy to just stop climbing.
To think, I've arrived. Dr. Hugar said his mistake was letting all the recognition, all the awards and titles make him comfortable. He started to assume his 25 years of experience would be enough to keep him relevant.
But the world was changing underneath him, rapidly, as he put it. And you see this in the last few years of his CV. He's on a very fast track. Director of an MBA department from 2022, and then dean at GM University in 2025. He's at the top of his game.
And the awards start piling up. In just 2023 and 2024, he's named Director of the Year, Principal of the Year, Visionary Edu Leader. His institution is winning awards under his leadership.
The applause is deafening at that point, and when everyone is telling you you're a visionary, it's very hard to look in the mirror and say, what am I getting wrong? What do I need to learn next?
But he did. He looked at the landscape of management education and saw 3 letters that threatened to make his hard-won expertise obsolete.
AI, fintech, and ESG.
Let's break that down. This isn't just jargon. This is a fundamental shift in what business schools need to be teaching.
It's everything. AI is changing marketing, strategy, operations. Fintech is completely upending the banking industry where so many MBAs go to work. And ESG, environmental, social, and governance is no longer a nice to have. It's core to how companies are valued.
So if you're a dean who is still only fluent in the language of 1990s marketing or traditional HR, you are on the fast track to irrelevance. Your awards won't save you.
He recognized this threat, and his counter move was a strategy he called intentional discomfort. He had to force himself out of the corner office and back into the learner's chair.
And you see the proof of this all over his 2025 activities. He doesn't just read an article about AI, he goes out and publishes his own research on it. AI's impact on marketing strategies in the telecommunication industry.
He's not just consuming the future, he's actively trying to contribute to it. And he uses his leadership platform to push the conversation. He's co-chairing conferences on fintech, ESG, and AI. He's giving keynote speeches on it.
He's putting himself in positions where he has to be an expert, which forces him to learn. It's brilliant.
But for me, the most telling action, the most humble and powerful one, is the last thing on his 2025 list. He completed a faculty development program through LE.
Okay, what is LE?
It's a leadership program for senior academics. For a sitting dean, an award-winning leader, to enroll in a course like that, to dedicate the time, and to aim for and get an A grade that says everything.
It's a public declaration that experience isn't enough, that you never, ever stop learning.
In a world changing this fast, the beginner's mindset is the only one that guarantees survival, even for the experts. He had to make learning intentional again.
So the big lesson is that the moment you feel comfortable, the moment you feel like you've got it all figured out, that's your signal. That's the moment you have to find something new and difficult to learn.
Every recognition should trigger reflection. And not a reflection on how great you are, but a reflection on what new challenge you need to take on to stay relevant.
Okay, so let's try to pull all this together. We've walked through 28 years and 4 major strategic errors. What's the final framework here? What are the big lessons?
It feels like it boils down to 4 fundamental shifts in mindset that he had to make.
Okay, shift number 1 seems to be, sincerity is not a substitute for strategy. You can't just work hard and hope for the best.
Exactly. You have to actively plan and build the capital you need for your future career, not just your current one. And you have to start early, or the catch-up is painful.
Shift 2, delegate to elevate. You have to trade that feeling of control for the capacity to think strategically.
Your job as a leader is to build systems and people, not to be the hero who does everything. If you don't delegate, you don't just burn yourself out, you limit your whole team.
Third shift, start the scary things now. He delayed research because he was afraid of failing.
And he learned that fear doesn't go away by waiting. You just have to start, even if it's small. Consistency will always beat fear in the long run. Just begin the process.
And the final, 4th shift, don't confuse success with a finish line. His awards were a moment of peak danger.
The biggest risk for any successful professional is complacency. You have to actively seek out intentional discomfort to keep growing, especially when your field is being disrupted by things like AI.
When you lay it all out like that, his journey is just this incredible case study. It shows that your career isn't just about your degrees or your titles. It's about a constant cycle of choices, mistakes, corrections, and pivots.
And his mistakes were never about a lack of talent or a lack of effort. They were always about strategic timing. He waited to do things until he was forced to, and doing things under pressure is always 10 times harder.
Which brings us to the really powerful final point for you, the listener. Dr. Hugar's story is proof. It proves that even if you delay, even if you make these big strategic mistakes, it doesn't mean you can't succeed. It just makes the journey harder. He pivoted 2 decades in and reached the top.
So we want to leave you with this final thought straight from his lessons. What is that one big, challenging, long-term professional goal? You know the one. That certification, that paper you want to write, that scary new skill you need to learn. What is the thing that you have been delaying, waiting until you feel perfectly ready?
And based on his advice, what is the single smallest action you can take today to just begin the process? Not to master it, but just to start. Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.